couple people on the block there at 46 and San Pedro. There's another person waving them on. And now we're still on San Pedro. Through green right there at 47th, 4-7. Coming up on 48. We'll see if they make another right-hand turn to keep that loop going, or if they go straight or left, then they're going to sort of veer off the path that we've seen. There's another person on the corner that just came out of that baby blue house with the white accents. And now this driver sort of continuing in the same direction on San Pedro. They're coming up to a red light here. We're going to have to see if they go through this. A car just went right through it, but they caught a green, so almost the most fortunate pursuit driver we've seen. I've only seen them run about 2 reds, I think. All greens for this driver. Now we're back on 51st, if I'm not mistaken, 5-1, in this slow speed pursuit. Now all we know is that it was a felony stop. We did hear that this, we did just hear that this is not, as was called out previously, a shooting suspect. They're saying it's not a shooting suspect, but we know that this was a felony stop, or at least that's how it came out across. But now, we are passing 49th. We're on wall again. Driver stopping at a red light there. LAPD cruisers on the side here, probably just hoping that this slow speed pursuit will come to an end. There's somebody's dog there. A lot of people out now. Again, we've been doing circles in this area for about 10 minutes now. And if you're in this area, you are very aware, again, that there is LAPD activity. If the lights and the sirens didn't give it away, the chopping of the helicopter blades certainly will. Now there's 3 people out there on the corner, about 4 or 5, actually it looks like about 7, came out of various houses there. A couple people there with the house with the tan tarp there over the trash. There's somebody on the corner. So a lot of people in this area now coming out to watch this, to see what's going on. Now, if you're just joining us and you're wondering what's going on, this was a failed felony stop. It was a felony stop by LAPD, and the driver drove away, and the pursuit started. We did some circles here in South LA at the start of this, and then the driver decided to jump on to the 110, and then they jumped onto the 10 eastbound, but then they jumped off the 10 eastbound and made their way back to South LA here, and we've been doing circles just like the driver was doing when we first picked this up. So if it seems monotonous, or if it seems like I'm a broken record, again, we're on San Pedro Place. Now we're still slow speeds here, probably about 15 or 20 miles an hour if I had to guess, and they're going to, all 4 of those tires are flat. That's why I couldn't tell if it was the left side or the right side. All 4 are going to be flat. We haven't seen any tires come off the rim yet. I just thought they were running on low profile tires, but stopping at that stop sign, they're going to have to pick it up. Now, going from a stop to a start with 4 flat tires is no easy task. So now, knowing that we have 4 flat tires, the speed of this pursuit, it makes a lot more sense. And we're going to take a right from San Pedro onto 43rd Street. Speed's about 15 or 20 miles an hour here. And on 43rd across San Pedro Street, coming up on Crocker Street, past Crocker on 43rd. Now the speedometer I have here in News Chopper 4 Alpha tells us that this vehicle's doing about 25 to 30 miles an hour. Looks like, yeah, I guess that's about right. We're seeing here on 43rd, 4-3, a lot of people out watching this. Now we're back on Avalon. We're going to take that right-hand turn on the Avalon. A couple people there on Avalon. So basically, almost every intersection we're at, we're sort of seeing people out either filming this pursuit or waving to the driver. Now there's a LAPD cruiser across the intersection there, sort of stopping traffic. Now we're on Vernon again. We're westbound Vernon. We haven't seen the tires come off the rim yet. But again, the driver had spike strips deployed on them at least once by LAPD. That's when they got 2 tires, but they might have got all 4 in that one go. And now again, that driver's on 4 flats, as you can see. Now we're through San Pedro Street again. A handful of people on the corner that time. And a lot of people on the balcony of that house, if you could see that at the top of your screen. Somebody skateboarding along with the pursuit there. We're at Vernon. We're coming up on Wall. We just passed Wall. We're still on Vernon. Again, just sort of meandering our way through the South LA area here. Now we're through San Pedro Place on Vernon Ave, lining up for a left-hand turn. That's going to be a possible left-hand turn on, there you see the LAPD airship passing right through your screen there. Might be lining up for a left-hand turn on Main Street. We'll see officers getting out of the car, issuing commands. The driver is just going to drive away. They'll get back in their cars, continue to follow. That's a left-hand turn onto Main from Vernon. Now we're stopped at this red light again. As I was saying earlier, we hadn't seen this driver blow through too many red lights. LAPD out of the car again to issue commands. The driver goes through this red light and lines up to cross 46th Street. They get the green, they cross 46th Street here on Main Street. We saw some wrong way driving earlier, but we haven't seen too much of that with the 4 flat tires. We're passing through 47th Street, 47. Low speeds here. 15 miles an hour, I think, approaching this red light on 47th Place. Now this pace is much slower than when we first got over it, but when we first got over it, the driver had 4 tires. Now LAPD, with a successful spike strip or 2, has taken out all 4 tires on this vehicle, which has really reduced its capabilities overall. Speed, handling, cornering, making a very low speed left-hand turn onto 48th Street. We are eastbound on 48th Street. We pause here at Wall Street. We'll continue through Wall on 48th. Oh! He might have clipped that truck. That truck was trying to back out of its driveway. Might have just clipped that truck there. I'm not quite sure. We couldn't see any debris come off. I'm not hearing that there was a traffic collision there, so maybe the driver of that truck got off lucky. I am now hearing confirmation that that was a traffic collision that did come across as a TC, so they're going to send a unit over to that address. But again, with 4 flat tires, if there's a car backing out, there's not much you can do driving a car with 4 flat tires to stop on a dime, even if you're only doing 15 miles an hour, the mechanisms for braking just really aren't there for you. Seeing the spotlight on that driver again. Now we're crossing Wall again. We're on 45th Street. We're on 45th Street. A very low speed pursuit here. I'll just do another recap. If you're joining us now in News Chopper 4 Alpha, we've been following a felony stop pursuit that's been going on for about 30 minutes now. We've been doing circles in the South LA area for about 15 minutes now. Previously, when we first got on this, we were also doing circles in the South LA area, and then the vehicle broke from that, jumped on the 110 northbound. There's two people that almost looked like they were fighting, but a lot of people out here filming the pursuit in this area because the driver, again, jumped on the 110, jumped on the 110 northbound, transitioned to the 10 eastbound, and then made their way back to South LA here, which they seem to be pretty familiar with. We saw them take a number of alleyways at the start of this, but LAPD had a successful spike strip on this car, and that's when it lost at least 2 tires and then lost all 4. And now we've been low speeds in the South LA area, basically doing circles anywhere from 43rd Street to 47th, anywhere from Wall or Main, Vernon, San Pedro Street, San Pedro Place. We're through 47th now, right through that red. Now, for the most part, this driver in the last 15 minutes has been obeying traffic signals, but every time they come to a red light, the driver stops, the lead LAPD cruiser, 2 officers get out, they start to issue commands, the light goes green, the driver drives away. Now we're a left turn onto 49th, that's 4-9. And that is, we're going in the east direction. This is eastbound on 49th. Now people running to the corner there. People in the corner there waving, maybe even communicating with that driver. The driver stopped for a second. We saw the people sort of film and look into the car and then almost cheer a little bit. Past almost through 48th here, we're on Wall. Now, since this has been going on for about 15 minutes, it seems like a lot of people in the neighborhood are very aware and have come out to the corner to watch this. You see 2 people right there in the center of your screen just passed by the main car. We've seen a lot of people in the corners, about at least 10 or 15. You see there at least a group of 4. And on my speedometer, on my screen, it's saying we're going about 15 miles an hour. So a low-speed pursuit here through South Los Angeles. There is somebody on top of their car with a professional camcorder. Now we are through Wall Street. We're on Wall Street, I'm sorry. We are on Wall Street, about to pass 46th Street. You see at least 10 people in that corner. And then another 10 on the other side. We can punch in here a little bit digitally and just take a look at the car now. They called out that earlier, that car did confirmed hit that truck that was backing out of its driveway. When the car is facing us again after another 3 rights, we will show you that. We'll punch in and take a look and see if there's any damage on that. But on the sides that we saw there, nothing too noticeable. Now we're going to get a right turn back onto San Pedro Street. We now have at least 5 marked LAPD cruisers in tow. Now, if these cars take a right too, these might be unmarked. But there's a lot of cars there following behind the LAPD officers that I think that would be a little too many cars for that to be unmarked. Now again, low speeds here on San Pedro Street. I just want to zoom out and give you a wider perspective of what I was talking about. We have 5 LAPD cars in tow, but I think there might be a number of normal cars, normal civilian people just driving along, following it from behind. But we'll have to check back in with that when this driver takes another 2 rights and makes their way back in our direction. We'll be able to give you a better look at that. Now you saw a handful of people there in the corner, as again we're passing the baby blue house with the white accents, and on second look, I guess I would call that periwinkle. Now we've taken a right. We just jumped off of San Pedro. We're going to be on, I want to say Park 49th, 49. As we come up to this intersection at 49th and Wall, we're back at 49th and Wall. We're going to make a right-hand turn back onto Wall. Passing a sky blue house. Now we're really slowing down, doing about 9 miles an hour on my speedometer in here. Let's not waste this opportunity. We're going to punch in and see if that car has any damage on the front. I do see some damage on the driver's side fender there. So they definitely would have clipped that truck, but they clipped that truck on the passenger side fender. So maybe we just have either some pre-existing damage there on the driver's side fender, or they clipped something else in this. But for the past 10 minutes, we've only seen right-hand turns out of this driver. So can't say that that damage occurred in the past 15 minutes. We're still on Wall Street. We're passing 47th. Almost coming to a full stop there, crossing 47th, but a number of cars camped out here sort of slowing down this driver's ability to maneuver. Now we're the wrong way on Wall, really slowing down here. Going about 6 miles an hour here on Wall. Handful of people gathered at the corner of Wall and 46. We'll slide a little bit to get the trees out of the way. We're at Wall and 46 here. We do see the driver door open. Yes, the driver door is not open. The tree concealed it a little bit. The driver door is not open. We have about 10 people around this. LAPD officers lining up, issuing commands. Driver has stopped. We don't see that vehicle moving whatsoever. LAPD issuing commands, maybe setting up a bit of crowd control there too, because we have about 10 or 15 people here, and since this has come to a stop, I'm sure we'll see more people from the other blocks and the other corners sort of start to converge on this. So while they issue commands, they'll have to get a bit of crowd control going. We haven't seen the door come open yet. The door has not been opened yet. We do see the driver, though. So now it's just now LAPD is going to continue to issue commands to the driver. We'll see if we can see the driver stick their hands out of that vehicle or not. About 15 people here in the crowd right now. And again, we're at a bit of a standoff here at Wall and 46. Halfway through the intersection, the driver stopped. And it seems like we've reached a bit of a stalling point here. I see one hand from the driver out of the car. Let's see if we see 2 hands. We might see 2 hands. It's kind of hard to tell on the right side there. I think they were trying it. But we definitely do see 1 hand. LAPD still issuing commands, talking with that driver. You see that left hand there. They're going to open the door handle from the outside. They're going to have that hand up in the air. They're going to have another hand up in the air as they slowly exit this vehicle. Then they're going to take a couple steps backwards with their hands up. So far, it looks like the driver is cooperating. Now the driver is on his knees. The driver is complying with LAPD so far. As the driver prones out. As the driver prones out, I'm sure we'll see LAPD approach soon to take this driver into custody. Now again, this pursuit has lasted for about 30 or 40 minutes now in the South LA area. Jumped on the freeways for a little bit, but then made its way back to South LA. We did circles in the neighborhood again for about 15 minutes, and that's when it led to this, where the driver, in the process of being detained by LAPD, with a gathering crowd of about 20 people now at Wall Street and 46th Street, the driver is proned out. The driver has been complying. The door is open, as you can see. As far as we know, there's only one person in the car, the driver. LAPD should approach soon. Now we do see officers moving up now. Looks like they might clear the vehicle before they take this driver into custody. And now that left group of officers there. And it looks as though this pursuit in South LA has come to its end here at Wall Street and 46, with the driver being taken into custody. Thankfully, through the course of this pursuit, we didn't see too much dangerous driving. We saw some wrong way, and we saw them go through a red light or two, but pretty slow speeds, and I think each time the driver almost slowed down and checked both ways, so nothing overly reckless as we've seen, but now this pursuit has officially come to an end in South LA here at Wall Street and 46. So if you're watching us on the web or through our social media sites, thank you for joining us live here in News Chopper 4 Alpha as we brought you that felony stop pursuit by LAPD in the South Los Angeles area.